Welcome in, One Nation, to another episode of The Latest Buzz. I'm your host, TJ Wingert. Well, it's championship season, and that's where we have to start. It's between Friday and Saturday. Lynchburg Track and Field hosted the ODAC Outdoor Championships, and it was not one, but both the men and women taking home the conference title. For a reminder, it was a men's and women's sweep in cross country, indoor, as well as now the outdoor season, which marks the first time in program history Lynchburg has nabbed all 6 conference titles in an academic year. There were 7 event wins for the women, 3 for the men, with the women setting a new program record in the 4x100 relay behind the quartet of Kiera Smith, Jessica Camerata, Veronica Barnes, and Anaya Seward. The men also took down a couple of program records as Tor Ho-Tung Davidson set a new benchmark in the 800 at 1:52.44, taking down the ODAC's second oldest record. And we have to mention the freshman Cooper Hurst running the 5K to a 14:52.20 mark, shaving off more than 25 seconds off his previous PR en route to a program record and a first place finish. Now the attention turns to Lynchburg sending athletes to last chance meets through the next couple of weeks before the NCAA D3 Outdoor Championships on May 26th through 28th in Geneva, Ohio. Moving to the course now, let's talk about women's golf, who slotted in at second place at this year's ODAC tournament. Team shot .307 on both day 2 and 3, which was the third lowest score from any team over the course of the tournament. But Emily Brubaker captured the headlines as the reigning ODAC Rookie of the Year was the individual champion. Brubaker trailed by 3 strokes heading into day 3, but the sophomore stayed dialed in on her own game and picked up her 4th tournament win of the year. The 220 total score is the lowest in ODAC history since moving to a 3-day format, and today, May 2nd, is when the NCAA tournament field will be announced, and I would be floored if Brubaker does not collect one of the 6 at-large bids. So congratulations to the team for a whole with a second consecutive runner-up finish, as well as Brubaker, of course, for being the individual medalist. For the men's golf team, it was a 4th place finish over the weekend at the ODAC tournament. The men's team shot an .873 combined through the 3 rounds, and that's the best in program history, led by Eddie Coffin the 5th, total score of .210, also good for a program best at the ODAC tourney. Coffin was also tabbed as Conference Freshman of the Year and Player of the Year. Don't overthink this one too much, that's just ridiculous. Coffin is already doing big things, but still so early on in his career. Coffin, Brubaker, really the entire roster for both programs are extremely young. So to see the success from this season, plus the development of those young players, signals Lynchburg is going to be making some big noise through the next couple of years. Softball also had its conference tournament over the weekend, with the postseason beginning with a 5-2 win over EMU on Friday afternoon. Ashley Haley goes 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs in the opening win, with Emily Charlton tossing a complete game, totaling 6 strikeouts along the way. Then it was the first of 2 meetings with number 17 Roanoke, with Lynchburg moving into the losers bracket with the 3-2 loss at the hands of the Maroons. A day later, Lynchburg got back to their winning ways, though, taking down the Panthers of Ferrum 6-1. 2 RBIs in that game for Sophie Telly and Gracie Dooley, with Kaylee Dorsis tossing the complete game this time round. But due to the rain, Lynchburg would have to wait until Sunday to take on number 13 Randolph-Macon, and this game was totally worth the wait, going all the way into the 9th inning before Lynchburg prevailed 5-4. The Hornets struck first and ultimately led 3-0 after 2. RMC scores 3 in the top of the 3rd to tie it up, and we stayed knotted up until RMC pushed a run across to the top of the 6th. But in the bottom of the 7th, with 1 out, Sophie Telly, despite being 0 for 3 at this point in the game, came up huge. The junior launches home run number 6 of the season and forces the game into extras. Fast forward to the 9th, Carly Hudnall brought the game to its final verdict with a walk-off single to left field, plating Leah Caldwell and setting the stage for the Hornets' second meeting with Roanoke. In Lynchburg's second bout on Sunday, Roanoke did jump out in front 4-0 at the end of the 1st inning, then made it 5-0 at the end of the 2nd, scored 3 more in the 5th to bring the game to its 8-0 final score. And despite the season ending a little earlier than Coach Simmons and crew would have wanted, this is another young team with just 1 senior on the roster who missed the entire season, so everything that was accomplished this year really just lays the foundation for what can be done next season. Okay, now let's get you set for everything you need to know for the upcoming postseason action, starting with Lynchburg baseball, who ended the regular season with a 3-1 week, starting with a 16-7 road win against Pfeiffer. The Hornets showcased their power in this win, 5 home runs in total, 2 from Avery Neves and Gavin Collins, with Garrett Jackson having the last. Next day out, Lynchburg handled Hampton-Sydney 11-2 behind another 2 home run day for Avery Neves, plus Collins hitting another long ball as well. And we can't forget about Jack Batchmore, who carried a no-no into the 7th and finished the day throwing 7 2/3 innings with just 2 earned runs. Then this weekend saw the Hornets clinch the number 1 seed after a split doubleheader at Bridgewater, losing Game 1 6-2, but bouncing back with a 12-6 win in Game 2. Now Lynchburg is slated to host EMU on Friday as well as Saturday for a doubleheader for Game 2 and, if we need it, Game 3 as the Hornets begin their quest to repeat as ODAC champs. Transitioning to lacrosse teams now, let's start by highlighting the 2 wins for the week for the men's squad, who hosted Bridgewater on Wednesday night and breezed past the Eagles 20-8. Hat tricks coming from Ryan Kenny as well as Riley Mitchell, plus multi-goal nights for Dylan Wolf, Brett Rogers, Jack Spears, and Jake Rust. But we can't not mention Kyle Lewis. How about 5 assists in the win over the Eagles, as well as hitting the back of the net himself. Starting keeper Tyler Hadley had 4 saves on the 5 shots he faced. Then he gave way to Patrick Moore, collected 6 saves of his own. Jumping ahead to Saturday, your number 11 Hornets weathered a late push from Hampton Sydney and finished the regular season with a 13-10 win over the Tigers. That puts Lynchburg as the number 2 seed heading into the ODAC tournament, which will be held entirely over at Washington and Lee. The Hornets have a bye past the quarterfinals and will play either 7-seed Shenandoah, 6-seed Bridgewater, who play in the first round, and then take on Roanoke. Whoever wins that game will take on Roanoke, that is. So Lynchburg in a bit of a holding pattern for right now, but no matter what, it will be a rematch of a regular season contest, with Lynchburg besting all 3 of those teams during the season. As for the women's lacrosse squad, the Hornets' ODAC finale last Wednesday against Guilford saw Lynchburg roll to a big 23-2 win over the Quakers. The win plus a loss from Virginia Wesleyan has the Hornets in place to start the ODAC postseason tournament, playing at home and taking on Virginia Wesleyan on Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. You'll be able to see that game as well as baseball's beginning ODAC series this weekend on LHSN. We hope to have you with us for all that fun. Last note, women's tennis hosted WNL and got to celebrate Senior Day and recognize their 4 graduating players: Christina Harris, Alyssa Anderson, Mimi Oliver, as well as Lauren Piscadlo. The Generals would ultimately win 9-0, and that is just the 2nd regular season loss on the year for the Hornets. And now we head into the postseason as Lynchburg will play host to Virginia Wesleyan on Wednesday afternoon. That's going to do it for this episode of The Latest Buzz. Be sure to head to lynchburgsports.com for all the latest news, results, and stories revolving around Lynchburg athletics.